Hello everyone, welcome to The Great Indoors. This is episode 4 of season 8 coming to you from MWC 2024 in Barcelona. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, over the last several years, there's been a notable focus on partnerships within the tech sector. The dynamic nature of the technology landscape combined with the intricate challenges and opportunities presented by AI has led to an increased emphasis on strategic alliances. Indeed, McKinsey highlights the continued growth in the area of joint ventures and partnerships, which has basically seen a compound annual growth rate of 14% since 2016, translating into more than 10,000 deals annually over the past 5 years. That's a lot of deals. Now, to get philosophical, if we may, on the power of partnerships, Friedrich Nietzsche offered a profound view on partnerships through the lens of individuality and mutual enhancement. And he said, in the end, it is the strength of the partner that enriches the partnership. Basically, he suggests that the true value of a partnership lies not in just mere collaboration, but in how the distinct strengths of each participant contribute to and enhance the collective endeavor, leading to outcomes that surpass what each could ever achieve alone. And I'm pleased to say we've got some powerful partners joining us today. So welcome to The Great Indoors, a podcast where we look at the technological implications brought about by the next industrial revolution and how this can potentially help solve the biggest problems facing humanity. I'm your host, Matthew Roberts, and joining me as ever is my co-pilot and producer behind the scenes, Larissa Yee. So, as I stated at the beginning, of course, we're back in Barcelona at MWC 2024, and it's bigger and better than ever before. The Amdocs booth and TGI recording area are simply stunning, and our guests during this show are out of this world. So over the continuing weeks of this season, we will continue to bring you actual conversations recorded from the biggest telecom show on the planet. And I have to say, every single one is incredible. Now, as I stated there in my opening gambit, partnerships within the telecommunications and technology sector are at an all-time high and are pivotal due to the rapidly evolving nature of of all industries and the increasing complexity of customer demands. They help accelerate innovation, they help enhance our product offerings, and it's just great to collaborate and talk with interesting and intelligent people. That's my view on it. So today we have a bumper episode, a cornucopia of guests from across the tech world. In fact, I don't think we've ever had so many guests in one episode. So this is going to be an absolute cracker. So to talk about partnerships today, I'm joined by Silvia Candiani, the VP of Telco and Media at Microsoft, along with Amdocs' GM, Sarit Assaf. We made that announcement with Microsoft a year ago, so we're going to really focus on how that's progressed over the last 12 months. I'll then be joined by a familiar face in Jillian Kaplan from Dell, who heads up their global telecom thought leadership practice, and she'll also be joined with Jared Carl from Nvidia, and he's the global account manager for Edge and Telco. And then to bring it home, I will speak to Rob Morgan, the global head and AVP of BMC, who we've just announced a very important partnership with, and he'll be joined to talk about that specific deal with Amdocs' own VP, Josh Koenig. So we've got quite an episode lined up for you this week, so let's get going. Right, okay, here we go. Welcome back to The Great Indoors here in Barcelona. 2024 is the year, I believe, I hope. And we're kicking off this third day. I think it's going to be a fantastic conversation. And I'm joined by two lovely ladies to talk about the partnership between Microsoft and Amdocs. And that's Silvia Candiani, the VP of Telco and Media at Microsoft. And I'm joined for the first time from Amdocs, Sarit Assaf, who I've known for a long time. And we're also going to have a
good catch-up here as well, I think.
Indeed.
Yeah, so welcome and thank you. I know it's early morning. The energy levels are starting to dissipate slightly here in Barcelona, but I think we're going to have a really fun conversation.
Great.
So let's get into it. I think, first of all, it's been a year since Amdocs and Microsoft made the announcement about the partnership. And the first thing that's completely noticeable is last year I had Francesco and Draw, and this year I'm replaced by Silvia and Sarit. And I think if that's an indication of clear diversity in the industry, I think it couldn't be better manifested in the fact that you two have joined me today. And it's wonderful to have both of you. So thank you very much. So let's kick it off. Silvia, welcome to the Great Indoors. Give our listeners just a brief history of yourself and your role at Microsoft, if you could.
Thank you. Yes, and it's exciting to be here with you both and with Sarit, whom I've started to get to know better and better during this year, and it's really a pleasure, and tech is women.
Yeah.
So, yes, I've been, I just started as a Telco and Media Vice President worldwide. I've been 15 years at Microsoft, so I've been also CEO of Microsoft in Italy and responsible for Central Eastern Europe for the area. And before that, I was 12 years at Vodafone, so I'm a telco person.
I was Vodafone as well, back in the day.
So I'm super excited for my role today because I'm actually going back to my first love and trying to find new ways so that we can take telcos to shine to take the role they deserve, because telcos are so important for the digitization of a country, of each country they operate in, and they are the most impactful digital player in every country. So now with technology, generative AI, and all the tech transformation, they can take an even bigger role in each country. So I'm excited about that.
Excellent. And Sarit, for our listeners, maybe just give an overview of your role and history at Amdocs.
Yeah, so I have about 30 years in the industry, in the telco industry. I'm with Amdocs for so many years, played several roles in Amdocs. Today, I'm leading a business unit in the technology unit, responsible for product management and technology. And lately, I got the ownership on the charging and policy unit as well. I'm also part of TMF board. I'm a TMF board member. Joined there 2 years ago, and I'm excited to shape the industry through this forum as well. A bit about myself, so I'm passionate about technology and about people. And as Silvia said, I got to know her earlier this year in DTW, which was a great event and a great time to meet a very powerful woman a leader in technology. So I'm excited to be here as well today. Looking forward for great innovation coming together from Microsoft and Amdocs.
Excellent. So, let's turn the clock back a year. It was a big announcement here at the show. We were all very excited. Still the early days of generative AI being talked about. It's fair to say generative AI has taken over the whole... I think they're going to call it MWC, Generative AI, next year. But tell us what's happened. I know you're relatively new to the role, Silvia, but what's happened in the intervening 12 months since we made that announcement?
Actually, I joined the industry team, the worldwide industry team a year ago, but I was working together with Francesco. So in a sense, okay. I've been
You've been a part of it.
I was here when Francesco was talking about the partnership last year, and so I've been building it since then. I think the big change is that last year was more of an intent, a partnership intent. Now we have a product and a platform, and I'm super excited that it's finally something that people and customers can see and touch, and it's evolving. It's still adding up, and we are in a journey. But I would say it's fantastic to see the appreciation the customers see So when they see the end-to-end customer experience platform comes to life, how you can make it frictionless, from the beginning to the end, from capturing the intent to really delivering the purchase. And it's a Gen AI infused end-to-end.
Yes.
So in this sense, the partnership started even before Gen AI was, the thing. But with the agility that I think both our companies have, which actually capture the opportunity, and you can see Gen AI and Copilot throughout the product.
And a year ago, generative AI was still hot off the press, right? In some respects, we talked about it, but it wasn't, it didn't have the presence that it has today. So how is generative AI, I love the word generative AI infused, by the way. I'll be using that in the rest of my episodes for today. But how does that manifest itself in the joint solution from Amdocs and Microsoft?
So the idea is that generative AI allows to have sort of a co-pilot, an agent co-pilot that helps the person, the employee, to be on top of the situation, to be faster, to be more relevant to the customer he's engaging with. So, for example, while you are in a customer care situation, you have this kind of buddy that whispers you, what is the summary of previous calls and what you should tell in this situation, and helps you to mine what is the right procedure that you should talk about in order to solve the customer problem. Or in the B2B space, which is an area where we see a lot of interest from customers, you actually have a support and understanding, how to pitch a certain offer and what is the supporting documentation that you need to have available and so on. So
Yeah.
I would say it makes life of an employee much easier, and we know how complicated it is sometimes to the portfolio, the number of offers, the number of customers. So it makes people more productive, but also feeling more confident and more in control.
Yeah, and I think that's the amazing thing. Again, when you go back a year ago, it was very hyped. We talked, everybody was excited about ChatGPT. Microsoft have been right at the vanguard of everything in generative AI, but how quick now to have it real, reliable, working, infused in the solution. What are your thoughts on that, Sarit, from...
So just going back to what Silvia said, I think now that the product is GA, I used to say that we got Gen AI as a bonus to the partnership. Because when we started the whole journey, we created this joint offering of what we called CEP. Gen AI was not there to assist us to build much more robust and personalized product. Today with Gen AI, I think Silvia was using infused through the product, and I would say it's kind of unlimited possibilities to use this technology within the product. So if you think about assisting the agent himself, not only the agent, but the user, the system is much more smarter when you infuse the technology inside. So you can think about it the ground up. Everything you do is now much more smarter, much more efficient. We use the data to predict, to personalize, to create these personalized journeys and personalized experiences. So for me, AI was always kind of in the center of the stage in technology and in telco specifically. But with generative AI, it's kind of created the hyper-personalization on steroids. I would even say with the Maze platform that we embedded to the CEP product, we created this telco taxonomy, which actually was able to elevate the technology from Microsoft, which is highly secured and an enterprise-grade technology, to the level of the telco, which talks the language of the telco, which talks which create this 1+1 = 3 for the agent and for the user.
It is incredible.
And I wanted to add on what Sarit is saying, because the platform is extensible, so it's modular, so you can just look at a specific module like, I don't know, customer care or B2B or different pieces, and it's so extensible. So, for example, what one of the benefits that Sarit hinted at is the fact that you can leverage AI also to get the best out of some existing products, such as the billing platform. So, for example, you can extend the agent copilot with a copilot that goes and looks into the billing and charging system. So you can, explain my bill, and that would be a way to make the agent even more in control of the conversation. So I think we are just at the beginning of what is possible, because that's a good platform, but it can also continue to evolve and to be extended in more use cases.
Now, I haven't prepared you for this question, either of you, but it's something that's come up this week, because to me, I'm doing a little bit of my own market research, right? And the one thing I think, and so we go around the show and it's very clear what generative AI can do for the industry of telecommunications. And it permeates everything. There's lots of marketing slogans. I have asked this question to every guest I've had on so far, which has been around 15, I've lost count, but every single answer I get back is different. And that's why. So we talk about what it does in the industry, but Silvia, where are you personally using generative AI in your life right now?
So I'm actually fortunate to have an M365 Copilot that helps me prepare for stuff. So one thing that I do is summarizing emails. So when I start the day, also because I live in Italy, but I have a worldwide role, so during the night, anything happens. So I get Copilot to give me a summary of all the chats and emails that I haven't read. I love the Teams meeting summary, so that you get the action log and the to-do list at the end. And even when I have not been able to maybe participate to a meeting, get a recap. And then, I'm starting now to, I'm using it also to prepare for meetings. And so I ask, what is it about this customer that I need to meet? And so getting information both from my Microsoft knowledge base, account planning and stuff, but also what has this customer said, in the press or online. So
brilliant, getting like a dossier on that, on your customers before you get in there.
Yes.
And you know what? That's another unique answer to add to my list. Honestly. The same question to Sarit.
So basically, I'm using it the same way Silvia mentioned for emails, summary of meetings. But this is kind of at the business work or life. Mm-hmm. In personal life, I plan my trips, my family trips. So this is very common, I think. Creating the whole trip with the generative AI, recommendation, etc. Mm-hmm. I'm very passionate about making it kind of a common use gender-wise. So when we had earlier this week the female forum, women forum of Amdocs here in MWC, and an interesting fact that I learned is that generative AI is used kind of by 50% by male, but only 30% female use.
I heard these statistics. Yes.
So I think going back to Israel, to Amdocs, I'm going to establish a program in Amdocs technology specifically, to increase the level of usage of generative AI in...
No, it's fantastic.
I like that. Yeah. Also because if you think that usually women have double jobs, at home and work, so we need the Copilot even more.
No, exactly.
Yeah, but an interesting fact that we discussed in the Women Forum is that probably the low uptake of female using Copilot is because we are very process-driven.
Yes,
And
yes.
we don't kind of trust something very instantly prepared.
Yes.
Obviously, it will change. We will need to kind of follow our instincts, but also follow the AI.
Yeah.
I think it's critical.
Absolutely.
For us.
Absolutely. Well, that's a really noble cause, and I'll be keeping an eye on that when you go back to Israel. Now, I'm sad to say we're already out of time, and we've spoken for. Normally, we cut the segments, and I could feel like we could go on all day, and it would be wonderful to do so. But I'd like to welcome both of you back in a year's time to assess the progress.
Yeah.
I think it's exciting. I think the leap in a year. I think the fact it's real, demonstrable, tangible, infused with Gen AI. It's very, very exciting. So, Silvia, I want to thank you for joining The Great Indoors, and I want to thank you, Sarit. I'd love to see you both again, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the show. How long do we have left in the show?
Today, the last day.
And then you head home. And you're Milan or?
I'm in Milan, but I'm going to have my team off-site tomorrow.
Oh, very exciting.
Until Friday, I'm here.
Okay, yeah. Well, thank you very much, Silvia. Thank you, Sarit.
Thank you so much. It's been fun.
So we're back, MWC 2024. It's quite a morning so far. And now I welcome back frequent flyer to the Great Indoors, Jillian Kaplan, the head of Global Telecom Thought Leadership in Dell. And joining us for the first time is Mr. Jared Carl, an account manager on Edge and Telco at Nvidia. So welcome back, Jillian, and welcome for the first time, Jared.
Pleasure being here. Thank you for having us.
I'm excited to be back.
Back again, and we're throwing down the gauntlet here, Jared. 3 times is. Are you going to try and top that?
Like playing baseball with the Yankees here. Jillian only brings the best.
But yes. I'm from Boston.
Boston. Oh.
Don't say that.
So you're an Astros fan?
Oh.
Now, just for our listeners, Jillian, maybe you'll go first. Just give an overview of your role at Dell.
Sure. So when I think about thought leadership and what we're doing in telecom, really my goal is to make sure that as our solutions and products come to market, that we share what we can actually do for our customers with these solutions and these outcomes. So I really focus on outcome-driven solutions and how we can help CSPs monetize those solutions, make their networks better, and grow and really modernize their networks for the future.
Okay, excellent. Jared.
And what I do for NVIDIA as a global account manager for Telco and Edge is I really focus on 2 aspects of our business. One is make sure Dell and all of Dell's bits inside of it have all of the right technology and solutions necessary to actually get out to the field. NVIDIA, we've been around almost 30 years for a semiconductor business building our GPUs. We need to make sure those GPUs go into the right boxes inside of Dell, either be a PowerEdge server or something through the Dell OEM team. Our networking components from our Mellanox acquisition a couple of years ago, so the Bluefield cards and the ConnectX cards, make sure all of those are built in, packaging them up in convenient solutions, just like the Dell validated design for Gen AI. If you walked around the show floor here, it's easier to find something it's harder to find something that doesn't say AI in their booth.
Yeah.
And then I make sure we take all of that to market. So that's where Jillian and I really work really well together on, is bringing these real solutions out, making sure customers are able to see it, making sure they know when they're buying something from Dell and NVIDIA, it is top notch, it is the best, and it is actually going to solve all of their problems, or as many of their problems as possible.
And how did this partnership come about?
I have been NVIDIA now for about 6 years. NVIDIA and Dell have been engaged almost since day one, from the consumer market of our GeForce business, and then as NVIDIA expanded out into the data center business, we embedded those GPUs into the Dell PowerEdge business. Now Dell is one of the top OEMs inside of NVIDIA. They sell billions of dollars of NVIDIA gear every year. Some of the biggest deals that you've seen out there in the world have gone through Dell and NVIDIA. So the business relationship is fantastic. Michael Dell and Jensen talk on a regular basis, and we're looking for a really great year. I'm fortunate enough in my role that I met Jillian when I started it late last year, that we've worked really well together since then. So she's brought us in some really exciting opportunities like this one to really get the message out of what we can do together.
Perfect. And let's talk about that AI. Let's talk about some real use cases and business cases that show off the power of this partnership?
Yeah, I mean, as AI has come to the forefront, right, it's incredibly important to remember that no one can build AI, generative AI, by themselves, right? It takes partnerships, and as Jared said, the partnership has always been there. It just continues to grow as we have purpose-built hardware that we can work really closely with Nvidia to make sure that it's capable of handling the workloads for their GPUs, et cetera. So what we actually did was install a working computer vision AI solution at a brewery. And this solution has grown. We started this project about a year and a half ago now, and it's wild to think how far it's come. But what we did was we actually went on their canning line, and in their canning line process, they had to have 4 people stand around at their canning line and watch and see if cans fell or got out of place or had issues throughout the process. And they can for 4 to 6 hours a day, 3 to 4 times a week. And those 4 people standing at their canning line could not leave their posts. They can't go to the bathroom, they can't get something to eat, because if a can falls, they're moving so fast in that canning line, if the can falls and you don't pick it up, the whole thing is gonna back up and create a massive issue. So we installed sensors and cameras throughout their canning line, powered by an XR4000 with an Nvidia L4 GPU, actually the first deployment of that combination ever, which is very cool. We sent the data into the cloud, and then it actually displays on a big monitor at the brewery. So instead of having 4 people stand on their canning line, they can have 2 to 3. We cut it by at least 25%, and they can just look up at the screen and say, okay, this can's down, and grab it really quickly. So it frees them up to do things like brew beer and things that they were actually hired for instead of stare at cans.
Now, something a little bit more of a personal question, just something that I'm interested in. Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah.
Obviously, the end of November 2022, OpenAI launched ChatGPT and everybody goes crazy. We're over 12 months through that now. In your everyday life, Jillian, where are you using generative AI?
So I'm not at a space yet where I'm using it to do work for me, but I'm using it to jog ideas. So a good example I'll say is if I wrote a blog or a white paper or an infographic and I need a title, I will say I wrote a blog about blah, blah, blah. Can you give me 5 titles that would make sense for it? And 9 times out of 10, I don't just pick one of the titles. I'll mix and I usually ask them for 5 or 10 so I can mix and match and make something that feels good to me. But if I'm having, a brain squeeze and I'm what do I do? I also love to write my out of office messages.
Oh, that's cool.
They are everyone. You should write me an email, Jared, so that you can see my out of office message right now.
I go with the shortest possible. I'm out of the office. Done.
No, you got to write me an email so you can see mine. It's really. So I find it fun to play with, and I think that it's great for helping us do our jobs better and more efficiently. But I don't think I'm not going to be using it to write full blogs and something like that. Yeah.
And same question to you, Jared.
I'm going to start with the least practical ones. Creating memes.
Okay.
I've got a bunch of really weird friends and we like really weird things. So we create a lot of memes and send them back to each other with AI and it's instant. So we get a custom picture. So it's a lot of fun. One of the main couple areas I use it daily on is I still take notes by hand. Writing it down in a notebook and translating that onto a computer, then translating that into my note-taking software doesn't work well. So I trained AI to recognize my handwriting because my handwriting is about as good as a kindergartner. So I trained the AI to recognize that, and I got 99.9% accuracy now.
Wow.
I'm good with that. We use AI tools in the office to translate and transcribe meeting notes. So it has been keyed in as hey, these are your action items, bam, bam, bam. So out of a 30-minute meeting, I don't have to take notes and send them out to people anymore, which is my least favorite thing to do about a meeting. I love getting the action items. I love setting up the ideas. I don't like sending out the notes afterwards. Our AI will do that for us now. So, and that's really what I'm excited, because that makes my life easier, because writing the notes, writing the trip reports, I hope when I get back on the office on Monday, because we don't get our expense reports approved until after we submit our trip report, I could just submit the trip report instantly because it's already in my notes and I already tagged everything correctly. So what I had to change on my side was how I take the notes and how I tag that information. So the AI engine, I trained the AI engine to understand that and then export out my trippy notes afterwards.
Awesome.
So the amount of change on my side was 10% for, a 90% reduction in workload activity afterwards.
No, that's awesome. So let's go into the next point here. Now, in my history, I was in the handset business before I came to Amdocs, and I worked at LG and Nokia, Motorola. And I did a lot of work at this show with Nvidia back in the day with the dual core gaming chips that we were putting in a number of devices. But it's fair to say Nvidia is a rocket ship right now, right? You guys are literally on fire, right?
You'd have to ask me where we are in the top 5 this week, because it seems to be changing daily.
You were 3 last week.
I think we were 3 last week.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So how does that feel?
It feels amazing. I mean, people ask me that all the time, and it's difficult to say. I'm a pragmatic optimist.
Yeah.
I try to look at the future and try to have the best outcome in the future, but try to live appropriately, that everything works out. The vision that Jensen set up 30 years ago when he created the company, created a gaming card, figured out that gaming card can run data center workloads, getting those data centers worked in. We look at the steps until we get to today, where I'm sitting on a show floor here in Barcelona, beautiful Barcelona, and every single booth has AI listed in it.
Yeah.
That AI motion has primarily been powered by Nvidia, and then it's been powered by the strategy that Jensen built. So I feel absolutely honored that I was able to get in on the ground floor. And just 6 years ago, when my boss hired me, I was doing VDI. Virtual desktop infrastructure. That was our business. Yeah. That was my introduction to the telcos at Dell. Was some of the largest Dell telco customers were buying virtual desktops. Right. Like, that's exciting. Let's talk about something else that's really exciting, guys. Data and analytics. Let's talk about AI. And the engagement that we're seeing is when the companies grab a hold of it and buy it. That's where our rocket ship is coming from. These are greenfield workloads. And the best part about being involved in NVIDIA is that you can almost only exclusively do it with NVIDIA. Our GPU, our general graphics processing unit, is a general purpose compute device. Yes, there are specialized cards that are coming out down the road, and we're going to keep innovating on that tip of the spear of the best workloads are going to be on NVIDIA GPUs. And it's flexible. OpenBrew, they are running a CAN inspection on it. They can change that to run some other kind of workload inside of that device. They can update those models. They don't have to change the hardware. Yeah. It's the same hardware. That's the NVIDIA secret, is that the software that powers the hardware is also there. It's the only ecosystem out there that can do it at that scale.
Wow. So it must be a lot of fun. Is NVIDIA throwing a party this week? I think you guys should.
We have several parties through partners. Oh, so really? Yes, okay. We don't have one specifically. We don't have a booth here this year. Okay. So we're all very partner focused, and we're very working well with all of our partners, our GSIs, and of course our favorite hardware partner, Dell. I'm sorry, my favorite hardware partner, Dell. One of NVIDIA's favorite hardware partners, Dell. Yes.
But we have some 2 NVIDIA solutions in the Dell booth here, so you can come check them out.
I said this last year. I said I'm going to come over and have one of those beers, and I never did.
Well, you better come this year then. Yeah.
We're going to hold you to that, because now we have it recorded. So yeah.
Exactly. It's on record now, forever. So we're going to finish off right now with our TGI to go round. TGI to go. Okay, here we go. Jillian, TGI to go. Let's go first. Would you rather sit down and watch a good drama or sci-fi?
Drama.
Sci-fi. Oh, sorry.
and I think you answered there, Jared. And have you seen a good drama recently when you were on the... What would you recommend?
I really prefer comedy, but if I had to choose, I'd go with drama. My favorite movie is Good Will Hunting. Is that a high five? You talked about the Yankees earlier, so I don't know.
Oh, just because I knew it'd anger you.
And is it good because it's set in Boston?
I love Matt Damon. I just think he's a phenomenal... The whole premise is it's a phenomenal
And he's
movie.
a good guy.
He is a good guy.
He's a good guy. Both him and Ben Affleck, yeah.
And so sci-fi for you then?
Sci-fi, any day of the week. I mean, I do enjoy a good dramatic sci-fi. I've been watching a lot of it on HBO.
Right.
For All Mankind. I'm sorry, I don't know if you're doing an ad for HBO here. For All Mankind, just finished Silo. I binged watched that. I don't usually binge watch stuff. They're doing some of the best sci-fi out there, I think, right now. And one of the things that I really like now is, I also have a history degree, Masters of the Air. They're able to make using the computer graphics, using the graphics that are out there, those bombers look real. The damage looks real on that because you just can't fly a B-17 bomber.
You're supposed to be
anymore,
answering a quick question. You're going all nerd again.
Sorry, sci-fi. Sci-fi. I love dramatic sci-fi, but I also love stuff blowing up.
It starts talking about graphics, right?
You can probably see from my questions, I don't deviate too far from alcohol that often. So the next question, Cava or Sangria? We're in
Cava or
Barcelona.
sangria?
Yeah.
Sangria.
Yeah?
Sangria.
Have you had much sangria so far?
No, I haven't had any yet.
Not yet. Cava gives me headaches, so.
You need to hang out with Larissa. She's
all right.
So after this show is finished, you could go on a small weekend trip to decompress from all the fun of this event. You could go to Rome or Athens. Where would you go?
Both.
That's perfectly legitimate.
Never been to either. I'd love to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've been to Rome, so I'm going to have to choose Athens. I've not been to Athens. Go discover something new.
Nice. I think I've asked you this question before, Jillian. Singing or dancing?
Dancing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Karaoke.
I'm one of those that you sing and don't quit your day job, right? Yeah.
Right. And because if you see me dancing, you would never talk to me again.
So
you can sing, I'll dance.
I can't dance.
There you go.
I can't
No,
dance, and
I
I can
said
barely.
you sing, I'll dance.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Like Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
That's it. We've just found another value in the Dell and
partnership.
Nvidia partnership here.
Exactly.
Jillian's gonna dance, and Jared, you're gonna sing.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, what track?
Not going to retire off that, but that's okay.
Well, what song are we doing?
Can you do Usher, like from the Super Bowl?
No.
My inner millennial was like screaming with excitement.
I have about a 1 octave range, and it's in the weird mid baritone range. So like Depeche Mode is good. Some of Def
Who's gonna
Leppard
dance
songs.
to that? This is getting weird.
This is getting weird.
Okay. So you could go out for dinner tonight. Are you going to have paella or lasagna?
Hiya.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to do...
Lasagna in Barcelona?
I don't know. They've got everything there. So we're going to eat paella. You're going to be singing, Jared, while Jillian's dancing. We're going to be in Rome and Athens, drinking sangria, watching drama and sci-fi.
My dancing gets better the more sangria I have, actually.
Ooh, that's interesting.
That's good. Yeah. So listen, we're out of time. I want to thank you both for taking the time and pleasure to welcome you back again, Jillian.
Yeah.
Like we said, the gauntlet's down, Jared. And is there anything else that you're excited about seeing this week, just to close out?
I have not been around yet, day one, so
Okay.
I'm excited to just get around, see all the AI demos, see what everyone is building. I love seeing real stuff. I get really excited when it's like, oh, we've deployed this and we've got it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm always most excited about is the making it real.
Yeah.
And I hope that people are really working on these 5G use cases, because I think that we still have a lot of work to do to capitalize on in 5G, especially with the new AI use cases coming out.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love the dreams. I love what people think they can do and what they want to do, because from our dreams is where we come to reality. And I'm going to absolutely agree with Jillian that the reality, right? What can we actually do out there right now? What's new? What's exciting? But what can we actually do at a scale that matters? Yeah. You know, it's not just a fantasy of a car driving down the road by itself. It actually really is a car driving down the road by itself, right? It's yeah.
Yep.
Love seeing that.
Awesome. Well, thank you both very much. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you very much.
See you next time.
Thank you.
So we're back here, MWC 2024, I believe the year is. The Great Indoors continues here in Barcelona. And my next guest hails from the United Kingdom, Mr. Rob Morgan, who's the Global Head and AVP at BMC. Welcome, Rob.
Hey, Matt.
Thanks for coming by. And I'm also joined as a co-host from Amdocs, Josh Koenig, the VP of Amdocs Digital Engineering, who's come all the way from Green Bay, Wisconsin, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Home of the Packers.
Yeah, exactly.
Home of the Packers.
Yeah. So thank you both, gentlemen, for joining us today. And Rob, let's start with you. Give us some of your background, your history, your journey, and your role at BMC, if you may.
Sure. So I've been in BMC about 2 years.
Okay.
And it came about by an accident. So, most kids want to be train drivers. I wanted to be a professional rugby player. Okay. Unfortunately, I was too slow and too fat most of the time. So I never got a chance to do that. And so my dad said to me, be an engineer. So I became an engineer. Okay. And whilst I managed to qualify, I was probably the worst engineer the world's ever seen.
Oh, right.
So I ended up working in telecoms, and I spent 25 years in telecom, mainly around Vodafone companies.
Okay.
I also ran the telco sector for Cisco for a while, and I've also been CEO of Cisco and Microsoft resellers.
Okay.
And I got a phone call one day from the head of executive search at BMC asking if I knew anyone for this new role they were creating. First ever vertical based on telco. So they explained to me what the role was. I listened to them, and 6 months later, I'm with Paul Cant, who's our Chief Revenue Officer, and we're shaking hands on me joining.
Right.
So that was about 2 years ago. So I've had 25 years of telco and 2 years of software.
Right.
Great thing about that is the fact that when I talk about telco, no one in BMC really used to understand. It's
right.
changed now.
Yeah.
When they talked about software, I didn't understand. So,
right.
And so my role is really simple. I have 2 business units that I'm accountable for. One is our telco sector, or we call it Communication Service Provider, CSP.
Yeah.
And the second one is a new technology that we've launched, which is AI Ops, which is around how AI drives service operations, and I'm accountable for those 2 businesses.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Josh, just for our listeners and your first time on the show, just give a quick overview of your journey and your role at Amdocs as well, if you could.
Yeah, absolutely. So, started off life in South Dakota on a ranch, and after that, I jumped into the Army, and then after Army, onto university. And after university, I kind of fell into a job at AT&T. Spent 8 years at AT&T doing probably 6-7 different jobs, and I actually got exposed to Amdocs during my time at AT&T. And when it came time for a job change, Amdocs came calling, so I took that opportunity. And now I've done various roles here in Amdocs, and I'm most recently taking the VP of Amdocs Digital Engineering.
Excellent, cool. So let's get into it. So what's this partnership between Amdocs and BMC all about, and how did it come about? We'll start with you, Rob.
So BMC and Amdocs have had a partnership, a relationship, should I say, for a long time. And our 2 champions, Yoram and Yaron, Yoram from BMC, Yaron from Amdocs, I think for maybe 7 years had a vision of a potential partnership, an alliance where we work really closely together. I came in to run the telco sector. My first day, Yoram said to me, Rob, you need to be talking to Amdocs. They'd be a great partner. So for 2 years, I've been having a level of discussion. Mobile World Congress last year here, I met Igor Ivensky for the first time. We sat down, chatted, we had some really good discussions. And since then, it just accelerated to, over the last 8 to 9 months, we developed a vision. And then against that vision, we started putting together a business plan and what a set of outcomes could be, not only for Amdocs and BMC as partners, but also for our customers. So we're developing a level of technology that we think is going to be fantastic for our customers, and we needed an alliance partner with real domain expertise, culturally aligned, and together we're going to make CSPs operate better, faster, and more effectively.
So Josh, let me ask you, so what's specific about the partnership? These 2 entities coming together, what does it give our customers? Why is it greater than the sum of its individual parts?
Yeah, so what's, just in the general in the partnership, what's very cool about it is both sides really have this strong desire to bring something better for our customers, to create a new value. So what we have come together is really a top-of-the-line software and a very, very strong integrator, right? And, when we're, as the integrator, we understand the telco landscape so well. We know, we're going to be able to maximize the value of the BMC software because we're going to understand the use case and the context behind what the software needs to do, and we'll be able to basically install that software into the ecosystem faster and better than anybody else probably could. Okay. A lot of the ecosystem also rides on Amdocs, and nobody can integrate better with Amdocs than Amdocs.
Of course. And what is it that's special? What is the software that BMC is putting out there, Rob?
Yeah. So we're really focused on, interesting watching Amdocs launch Gen AI, and I've been really interested in chatting that. So we've had Gen AI in our infrastructure for about the last 2 years.
Right.
What we've really focused on doing is developing a set of applications that are specific for telcos. So, it is a telco-specific software set that combines service operations and IT operations and brings it all together to provide a zero-touch autonomous view. And at the end of it, we have an AI ops engine, which just stands for AI in operations, across either telco or across the IT portion, that's going to bring completely automated remediation. And we're doing that across all the domains that an enterprise has.
I've been throwing this question in the last couple of days because we talk about how generative AI is going to change telecoms, how it's going to make things better for our customers, how it's going to improve efficiencies. We see it on every booth. It permeates every aspect of any technological offering. But here's the question that gets the most diverse, pertinent answers. And I'll ask you first, Josh. What are you using generative AI for, personally, in your everyday life?
So I do a lot of my research. So if I need to find out about a new software or something like that, I'll ask generative AI. We use, in Amdocs, we have access to Copilot.
Yeah.
And so I use that quite a bit when I need to learn something new or I want to understand what may be the perceived value of a software that I may want to look at to potentially invest towards or invest my time to learning more. I'll definitely use Gen AI as my first stop. And sometimes it's my only stop, but usually it's my first stop because it also does a great job of giving you references to where to go next. So it can really ground you fast where the research it combines for you probably takes hours and hours and days of trying to do it yourself. It really brings it together very quickly. And I think that's an effective research and extremely effective tool, and I use it a lot for that.
And again, so I've asked that question. I'll ask Rob the question as well, but your answer was unique, right? So that gives you a sense of how broad just regular consumers and people are deploying it within a year. And so the same question to you, Rob. I've given you some more time to think about it.
Yeah. So I'm just debating whether I actually tell the truth here because I use it quite a lot.
Yeah.
Two things I use it for. One is I use it quite a lot for business plan type activity. So I'll sit there and I'll ask for suggestions on some of the ways I could do routes to market and things like that. And the outputs you get are fantastic, really, really good. Second thing is I'm a bit of a history geek.
Okay.
So my favorite podcast is called The Rest is History.
Okay.
So it's not about...
It's not the great indoors. It will be after this.
It will be after.
Yeah.
And so I listen to it, and I'm on about episode 500. So you can only imagine how bored my family are on long car journeys. But I'll be listening to it, and there'll be something come up whereby I go, okay, I didn't know that. That's really interesting. And I'll use it to find evidence to support something. So I'll sit there and go, okay, when the Mesopotamians got overtaken by this scenario, what were the things that they tried to do and why didn't it work? Yeah. So for me, I use it really around some knowledge management piece as well.
Yeah. And that's brilliant. And again, completely another unique answer to add to my catalogue of guests that have these use cases. But the pace of adoption, the pace of innovation and evolution from Gen AI is just off the charts, right? I mean, right now, from where we were and to what's happening almost every day. So if we do a bit of future gazing, let's turn the clock forward 2 years. We're back here in Barcelona. We're having the same conversation. Rob, what do you think? Where do you think we'll be as an industry and just as society?
So I think a couple of points. We recently held a telco dinner in London around an event that we were running. We had about 17 or 18 leaders, and the discussion was all around Gen AI. So what came out of it was, in simple terms, sort of three core principles: the use case, the math itself. So what are the language models that you're going to use? And in our industry, in the telco world, how do we make them specific to the industry we're working?
Yeah.
So that was the second point. And the third part of it, and this is what Josh said a bit earlier, was around the data. So, if you haven't got the data, the math is just an equation and there's no value. So I said, when you asked me at the beginning what had struck me the most was about the use cases. So I think in 2 years' time, we'll still be talking around Gen AI at the show, but it will be really use case driven. And so I've had customers say to me, I don't want to buy your Gen A solution. I want to buy these use cases. Because these use cases deliver the outcomes that are going to change the way that I operate.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to happen in 2 years. We're going to be sitting there and, Amdocs are going to have some amazing Gen AI use case around billing that's going to change the world.
Yeah.
From an overall human perspective, I think we're going to go through a piece where everyone tries it, and I think in 2 years, people will be sitting there forming their own views around how much they want to adopt and how much they want to change. I mean, my youngest daughter's going through GCSEs, which is the exam system.
I did those.
15,
I did those.
So she's going through that, and they're testing papers now to see whether they're Gen AI driven, and all those sorts of things. So, I think it's going to just expand. Everyone's going to use it.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
And what do you think, Josh? 2 years from now?
Yeah, so I do
And
agree.
by the way, in 2 years, there'll be a prize as well for who's closest.
Good.
Yeah.
So let's see if I get close on this one. So I agree that there'll be a lot of talk on the use cases. So we've talked so much this one about just Gen AI in general, just the technology behind it that drives Gen AI, and we're just starting to talk about the use cases now. My prediction would be, there's going to be over 100,000 different use cases that we'll be talking about in 2 years, but I think the turn is going to be, we're really going to get focused on how do we perfect the data that it's using. So I think we're going to start seeing a lot of interest in how we constantly manipulate data to make it essentially perfectly clean. We'll never get to that point, but I think there's going to be a lot of discussion on how to optimize the data to the nth degree come 2 years.
Excellent. Now, we're almost out of time, gentlemen, but we always finish the podcast with something we call TGI to go.
TGI to go.
So, Rob, we'll start with you. Fish and chips or pizza?
Fish and chips.
But that's a British thing, right? That's the one thing I miss, a good fish and chips from a proper chippy. Same question, Josh.
Pizza all day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But have you had fish and chips in England?
I've had fish and chips in England. I had it in Dublin.
I think I know the answer to this question. Football or rugby, Rob?
Rugby.
Yeah. And were you watching the Six Nations?
Yeah. So, I watched everything, and I was with Scottish people when we lost to them, and it was painful. But I do like football as well.
Okay.
But I love rugby.
You attended the Scotland-England game, right? Just a few days back.
Yeah. And what football team would you say you follow?
They wear blue. They're in West London.
You see, because the team I support are from Merseyside and wear red.
And won 1-0 against us.
Josh, same question. I think I know the answer.
So we're talking the English version of football here, right? So then definitely falls to rugby for me as well.
But you're a rugby... I mean, we spoke at breakfast the other day and you were talking...
I got 15 years of playing rugby under my belt, playing starting at the wing, and as I got bigger, I moved to the inside center spot eventually.
Yeah.
But a lot of time, I really, really love that sport.
Yeah.
So.
Even more so than American football.
Yeah, I like playing rugby a lot more than American football. I do enjoy watching American football a lot, but I think just the atmosphere around rugby, the songs that you sing, whether you're in the crowd or on the team, there's just so much to it, so much culture to it that I think it goes well beyond what the culture of American football.
So when this show is done, you're offered a free vacation by BMC or Amdocs, and you could choose Hawaii or the Maldives. Where would you go, Rob?
Hawaii.
Yeah? Any particular reason why?
So I was lucky enough to go there last year.
Oh, very nice.
BMC run a club event where people who achieve certain things get to go.
Yeah.
22 hours, 24 hours of flight from London in economy.
Oh.
I was sitting there going, I'm really not sure about this.
Yeah.
Got there, it was the most amazing thing. I thought Hawaii was a beautiful place.
Yeah.
So that would be my choice. I'd go back.
Yeah.
For me, it's the Maldives, and it's really because I haven't been there before. I've been to Hawaii, so if BMC is going to pay for my trip to the Maldives, I'm going to take it.
Do you like scuba diving? Do you like diving?
Oh yeah, I love diving. Yep.
So Maldives.
I've dove a lot. Actually, that's interesting. It seems like in Amdocs in general, there's a lot of people that like diving.
Yeah. And they go down to Eilat to do the diving.
Yeah.
In the Red Sea.
You can dive with the dolphins down there and things like that.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool place.
So another sport-related question. If we had to answer the question of who's the greatest soccer player of all time, would it be Messi or Ronaldo?
Maradona.
Rob? Oh, Maradona. Yeah. Yeah? You're a big Maradona fan?
Yeah, greatest football player I ever saw play.
Even with the hand of God in 86?
Yeah, I'd have done that if I'd been him.
Yeah? Do you know that story?
I do not know that one.
England were playing Argentina in the quarter-final of the World Cup in Mexico in 86, and Maradona jumped and put the ball into the net with his hand and got away with it. And England went out.
However, he then scored one of the greatest goals ever scored.
Yeah, it's quite a story. That question to you, Josh.
So I'm not a big soccer guy, so I'll have to just go with Messi. I've seen him play in the U.S. now. So.
Exactly, and he's doing a lot for MLS soccer.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I've actually watched. I've watched him play against in that league.
Yeah.
And obviously he's in the latter part of his career, but he is just so many steps above everybody else on that field. It's amazing to watch somebody of that caliber.
Yeah, and like Toronto FC is my local team. For any other game, it's quite easy to get a ticket. You just turn up. When Miami sold out months before, everybody wants to go. Well, listen, gentlemen, it's been a wonderful conversation. We finished with a bit of fun there. I want to say thank you for joining the podcast today.
Thanks for having us.
I hope you
Matt.
enjoyed the rest of the week. And we'll see you again next year. We'll check in on the BMC Amdocs partnership and see what's going on.
Matt, you make podcasts amazing. Appreciate it.
Thanks for that.
No problem.
Wow, what a fantastic episode today. And I just want to say a special thank you to all my guests who took the time to record with us this week in Barcelona. The road to success is always under construction. So please subscribe to our podcast on all the usual podcast channels. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts and enjoyed the show, please rate and review. Also visit our website, amdocs.com/The Great Indoors. And you know what? We'll be back next week for more great conversations. And until then, I'm Matthew Roberts for Amdocs in Barcelona, and have a great day wherever you are.